With the launch of Vanguard, shotguns have been in a pretty insane spot. With the combat shotgun basically taking over Das House and Shipment, people were ready to scream their heads off with rage from getting one-tapped by one pellet on that map. Thankfully, the shotguns did get nerfed, so people stopped talking about most of them, but the combat shotgun is still a little bit insane and is easily still the best shotgun. You may see people use the double barrel akimbo, the Gracie Auto with Gung Ho maybe, and Buck and Slug, but what about the revolving shotgun? This gun, I don't think I've ever been killed by, and definitely don't remember if I have been. For some reason, it gets overlooked by most guns and other shotguns, despite it being much easier to use than the Gracie Auto. So today, I'm dedicating this entire video to the revolving shotgun, the underdog shotgun, and with it, we're going to go over the best class setup that I have for the gun to get you very consistent and longer range one-shot kills, more so than you probably thought possible with this gun. The most important thing here is the damage and the range. The base revolving shotgun has a one-shot kill of about 5 meters. This really isn't anything to scoff at for a gun like this, a spammy sort of shotgun, which this is sort of a mix between a spammy shotgun and a more heavy hitter type of shotgun with the damage it does. In this one-shot damage range, you deal 50 damage per pellet, so it only takes 2 pellets to get that one-shot kill, which is kinda nuts. It's not nuts like the combat shotgun nuts, but that's still pretty nuts. You can be pretty off target with your reticle and you'll still manage to get the kill in most situations, so long as you're in that max one-shot range, which is the 5 meters for the base gun. But what are the best attachments for range? Well, the first thing that I want to point out is what most of you probably want to know about, so I want to get it out of the way, and that is Buck and Slug. Out of all the shotguns, this one was the one that got hit the hardest with the recent Buck and Slug nerfs. It doesn't really help the gun get any better of a one-shot kill range than anything like packed powder, but it does have a good one-shot headshot at ridiculous ranges. Basically infinite range, you can get a one-shot headshot, which is cool, but Buck and Slug hurts aim down sight speed by a lot, I think close to 50%, and aiming down sights with this gun isn't really worth it just for that. So usually I avoid Buck and Slug entirely in my opinion on this gun, and go for packed powder, which helps the range of the gun more than the other ammo attachments. So packed powder is probably the best range ammo type to use, and it helps take that 5 meter one shot up to about 5.4, which is good but not an amazing jump. The other two big attachments for range are the large barrel, the Clouser 710, and the 12 gauge magazine attachment. The big barrel and the packed powder on their own take the one shot up to about 7.1 meters, which is a good jump. That is really good. But we can add that 12 gauge ammo to the equation and it goes up to about 7.9, so just shy of 8 meters, and that is really good for a gun like this. It's actually a better one-shot range than the base double barrel, but as a perk, it's so much more consistent to hip fire than the double barrel is. And that's really one of the great things about this gun, is that since the damage is 50 damage per pellet in this one-shot range, you only need to hit 2 pellets to get the kill, which is just kind of absurd, so it's super forgiving, and if you miss, shoot again super quick since it's got 5 quick shots. And the 5 quick shots, really, that's the only downside with the build that I have, is that the 12 gauge ammo type only has 5 shots, so if you wanted to, you can use the 7-round cylinder, you can, but your own one-shot kill range is going to be about 7.1 meters, which is still really good, and I think most of you will probably gravitate towards the 7 rounds rather than the 5 with the extra damage range. They're both still really good. You can honestly swap them out if you want to. I personally like having the 12 gauge ammo generally and having to be a bit more cautious when I reload and all that. I just kind of like the playstyle. Now, let's talk some other attachments for my build on this gun. The next most important one is Gung Ho. Gung Ho eliminates sprints of fire speed entirely from the guns that have it and lets you shoot while sprinting. This is invaluable because we now don't have to worry about kitting our gun for sprints of fire speed, which is really important for guns like this or CQB guns, so you don't get caught with your pants down when you're running around. And since the shotguns can't really match SMG levels of sprint of fire speed, Gung Ho balances it out. Once you unlock it, slap that bad boy on because it is easily one of the best attachments you can use for the shotguns that have it. The full choke is also nice because it does tighten up your spread by a small bit, not by a lot, and really no other muzzle attachment is as useful as it for the buckshot build. There is attachments that help with accuracy, but for this particular gun, I would say just kit it out for this hipfire build more so than accuracy. Now, for accessory type of attachments and whatnot, let's talk about those starting with the underbarrel grip. The main thing to focus on here in the build is mainly hipfire accuracy, since the big barrel hurts it by about 20%, which is a big oof. We have 3 grips in this category that help with it. The Carver foregrip helps recoil and hipfire accuracy, so it's probably a better option than the other underbarrel grips, but really you can kind of get away with any of them that help hipfire accuracy, since they all help basically the same amount. For rear grips, the pine tar grip is nice because it helps with hipfire accuracy as well, so the attachments that do help offset that hipfire penalty from the big barrel, which is about 20%, so we take what we can with these sort of attachments. As for the stocks, the best is probably going to be the remove stock because it helps movement speed, which is important for a shotgun, but also the VOD Hunter stock helps the same amount for hipfire accuracy. It just doesn't help movement speed, so I prefer the remove stock for that small movement boost. Now, funny enough, this gun does actually have different iron sights, which is really cool. I wish the other shotguns had this, but I don't think they do, at least not the combat shotgun. And one thing I like about this shotgun in particular is it has different iron sights to choose from, which also helps your aim down sight speed. Although we could make an accuracy build with this gun and use a sight that helps accuracy, I don't find it as necessary, although it does make it much better aiming down sights at range. But this build is primarily for hip firing one-shot kills and only aiming down sights when you're past maybe 10 meters or so, even though it's not really needed with this gun. But accuracy does help if you are curious. I chose the large iron sights, but ultimately it's preference for you basically. And just to note, a lot of these attachments can be kind of mixed and matched, but I find that the hipfire accuracy is always handy with the shotgun, so I kitted this one out instead for that more than anything else. But really, that's about going to do it for this build. I know it's not a super long video, but I just had to talk about this gun because nobody's using it. And honestly, with this gun, I go on absolute tears. I just feel like up close, I am untouchable, which you might say for a shotgun, that's how it should be. And I'm just kind of thrown back by how nobody's using it. I think it's because of the grind, but I've seen more people using the Gracie Auto, which I would argue is just an absolute trash fest of a gun in most cases. This gun, though, is a lot better, and the one-shot kills are so consistent and pretty long range for a gun like this. So again, I'm telling you guys, if you really don't like leveling this gun up, just stick with it. Just bear with the pain and the suffering for a little bit. Once you get gung-ho, it's a lot more manageable, but even then, the one-shot kill range of 5 meters, it works wonders in my opinion. If you're used to shotguns and being really close, this gun is gonna feel really good. And with the big barrel, packed powder, and gung-ho and all that, man, this gun is nasty, and I'm so confused why I don't see people running it. So I'm telling you guys right here, you're hearing it from me, this gun is insane. It might even catch a nerf. It really might. It's borderline overpowered. It might even be overpowered with these attachments, but it's insane. Go ahead and use it. Rank up this gun. You are going to love it. It's so quirky. It's such a niche gun, but I love that about it. It's so cool. We haven't had a revolving shotgun since Ghost. So that's going to be it for this video, guys. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think of this shotgun? Is it the worst shotgun? Is it secretly one of the top tier shotguns? And with all that being said, I will see you guys in the next video.